Let's dive into our main topic about Sagemaker. And Amazon Sagemaker is a fully managed machine learning service provided. It helps the data scientists and developers or the machine learning engineers who use this tool and quickly build, train the machine learning model and deploy it. And we can start from the SageMaker environment. SageMaker provide multiple environments for the data scientists and developers to work. The SageMaker Studio give a rich interface of Jupyter Lab where you can handle the complete life cycle end to end. Today we will see the demo session. The next one about the SageMaker Studio Lab. You no need the AWS subscription to use a SageMaker Studio Lab. Then comes R Studio and the data scientists who are specialists in using R Studio. And Amazon SageMaker is the first cloud provider who is going to give us a rich future of our studio. And there are other use cases coming up at recent where the business analyst who are the BI developers who have a very good knowledge about the data and domain want to apply the machine learning, but they don't have a code experience. So you can use a SageMaker canvas to with no code, or you can use it or say no low code to build the machine learning. You can apply machine learning on top of the data. The next one, let's start with the data. You can use the SageMaker data wrangler to import, analyze, and prepare the feature rich data with the multiple data source. You can connect to the SaaS, you can connect to the cloud data warehouse like a Snowflake, and also you can connect to the EMR, Redshift, and other data source from the AWS. And very important thing you need to think about the SageMaker ground truth. Ground truth give a quality data. I say labeled data. Okay. Then important thing you can talk about people who want to use the foundation model or pre-trained model. SageMaker come with the example or the jumpstart model, and you have with a lot of newly trained models. It's you can use as a single click deployment. Okay, you just need to do fine tune according to your data requirement and quickly deploy it. And once also the feature store, it's very important. Like once your model goes to the production and your data scientists spend more time on building a feature, some and other models may need to reuse those models. So SageMaker Feature Store can store the features and you can use it as part of your low latency and real time inference use cases. Then SageMaker has multiple services which we will go dive deep. Example, SageMaker ML lineage tracking, which will completely track the machine learning workflow. And you can talk about the SageMaker pipeline, which you can end-to-end machine learning pipeline with SageMaker as a job. And we are going to give a demo today. And SageMaker model monitor or model analysis in the production endpoint is very important. Once a model goes live, it is very important to do the model drift or the data drift and ensure that the model which is running in the production met the data quality. And other service like a SageMaker registry to version your artifact of your each model, what is a version the model. At the end you have an option of deploying your model at the inference real-time use inference as a serverless or instance based, and you can use auto scaling to scale according to your need. Okay, so these are all only if I say we have not fully covered. We will go more detail about how we can glue together all these AWS services to provide the MLOps service, MLOps feature for your machine learning. And here, this is a life cycle. This is a list of services which we can categorize based on the life cycle. Build, yeah, as we mentioned, we have covered the SageMaker Studio, AutoML, where you can AutoML will not work with all the use cases like computer vision or the NLP, but you can use for the classic machine learning models, and you can use a jumpstart model, which is a pre-built model, and you can use a SageMaker SDK to build local in your laptop or your and test it in your local. The same SDK will work in a cloud. Just make sure that you are changing the flag rather than local. You have to provide your AWS role and the compute information. The train, it will provide the numerous compute option. You have a choice of compute based on your requirement and hyperparameter optimization. That's very important. AWS provide a lot of features and a lot of announcement happen on the recently on the hyperparameter optimization. Well, we have a separate topic to be covered at the hyperparameter optimization. Distributed training, this is very important since we are getting more and more data and more parameters added. It is very important you train the data in a distributed manner. So distributed training features provided by the SageMaker. It also uses the popular open sources, say Harvard, and it provides a debug and an experiment. Whenever you train the model, you need to make sure that you understand and debug and record of each training jobs. So you have option of debugger and experiment and SageMaker pipeline to complete life cycle of uh, the training cycle to read the data and use the data, correct the data, do the data processing, then apply the machine learning model, and you can deploy to the model to the real time or build a batch transformation. Then deployment comes in a multiple options. So we have discussed about the real time inference, and there is option of using a serverless inference or asynchronous inference. We will dive very deep into this one because this is where most of our MLOps we will spend time. And there is a difference between the single model and multi-model deployment and multi-container deployment. And there is an inference pipeline, whether we were doing a serial inference pipeline in as a tag manner. So we will see all those in a details. And this is a space where most of the innovation currently happening at the SageMaker, and more models are getting into the production. And we are in as ML ops engineer or as a big organization, they want to make sure that the machine learning is governed properly. I must to include something like a SageMaker Clarify, which will give us a bias information that's part of the governance. And we need to, and you can use a role manager where what kind of access the different personas which we highlighted in a previous section can cover data scientist or data engineer, or you can create a custom permission. Then model monitoring, that is very important, which will provide you the information about the model drift or if there is any data drift is happening. Okay. And model dashboard is very, this is a newly announced services which give you the overview of all the models in your account. It integrate information with the model monitor and transform the jobs. It just to give you the snapshot of what is your model. Okay. And model cards, it is about a record to maintain the records and share the record of your model with the non-technical people, or say the project manager or the product manager what this model is doing. Okay. Then shadow variant, this is a new feature which was announced in the recent reinvent. The shadow variant is nothing but when you are getting a real-time inference call, it will make sure, and at the same time, if you are deploying the new model, it right before deploying it, it will receive all the requests in a real time. It is not a A/B testing, but in A/B testing, we will check the payload. We will have a uh, validation of how it is performing in a shadow variant. It is just make sure it is receiving the uh, receiving the request real time request, and check how it is performing against the currently deployed infrastructure. Okay, that's all we today. This session we were discussed about the SageMaker overview and the SageMaker lifecycle. Next section we will look at the reference architecture of how we can use build MLOps using a SageMaker. Thank you.